Okay, anybody else with, sir, yes?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Chapman from University of Brighton. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. I mean, firstly, that for me, the document in front of us is full of opportunities, really, because actually it's not overly prescriptive, and it's not a list of 100 bullet points that you must be able to check off in 3 years' time in order to have complied. I think in terms of action, research and participation, and also just accepting that part of perhaps creative drive is about ownership and feeling like perhaps you have had a part in something, co-authoring something new. I think that for institutions to be able to take this on and to perhaps craft it and shape it and also maybe innovate with it a little bit, and then maybe share their findings with other institutions who have done the same, you could actually then end up having some kind of forum in 2012 to share those findings and innovations and breakthroughs, so that we can then set a 2016 imperative which perhaps creates new points. There was one other little thing to bolt on to the end of that though as well, which I mentioned to you, John, earlier, seeing as I've got the mic, and it was about, and it was just about power. And although we like to think of academic institutions as being places for ideas and you know, anything goes and blue sky and so on, very often I think when you introduce new ideas about changing emerging paradigms and emerging 21st century conditions, that surely education's responsibility is to find ways of teaching and learning and generating new cultural awarenesses about a changing time. Often what you end up with is pockets of change and pockets of action within institutions, but then also other pockets, larger pockets often, which resist this change, because what those changes suggest is positioning the centre of gravity of education outside of people's comfort zones and into a new kind of unknown territory. And I think often resistance to things like this are just simply because they're kind of unknown and unfamiliar, not because people are against what they represent or people feel opposed. I think it's just simply that we need to try and accept that, you know, we need to practice knowing, not knowing. You know, we need to kind of say it's okay to not know how to do that, but what we do know is that we need to kind of find out and surround ourselves with people who have ideas.
Can we all vote on not knowing how to do that? If all those in favour, we don't know how to do it, yes. But that's one very practical thing which is to come back in 2 years' time and say, how did we do? And then if we all got to ecological literacy, we get a prize, and if not, then we carry on exchanging stories, because I think there is a gap for this kind of community to just tell each other what's happening. Sorry, yes.
My name is Karen Yashki, also from the University of Brighton. I'd be interested to hear if there are any students here who have plans to get together, maybe across universities. In my time there was something that was called the European Architectural Association, and we got together in summer camps and we did things together and, you know, thought about the problems of our day, in inverted commas. There is something like Archaeos, which is an architectural student association. Yeah, I'd like to know whether there is anything by way of, you know, sort of design students for eco-literacy or design students for sustainability, and if not, if any students here have any thoughts on how they could, you know, make claims, get together, network, and formulate what it, you know, what they want, what they would see as important for their own education, because in the end it's the education of the students and not just what tutors or institutions.
Are there any design students who can give us an answer to that question? Yes, sir.
Well, at the minute, I'm kind of thinking.
Are you a design student?
Yeah, design student at Brighton. Thinking of this idea that I mentioned earlier of how we actually interact with the educational aspect and the community, and that we maybe open the doors up and start to base our thinking and our debate on what is actually happening around us, other than just theory and ideas. And maybe proposing to some of the other students on the course about starting something off, maybe getting a space out of the university that interacts with the community and starts to build that, and then maybe sharing that ideas with other universities. So the university becomes more engaged with the community, as opposed to just being an academic institution. Utilising the potential, I guess, of all the support and facilities and academics and everything there to empower us in that sense, but to go out and actually make some difference and have the backing probably and the leverage with councils and various people. So I'm up for that. Yeah, cool.
Clara Wooditch from Chelsea College of Art and Design. And I work in eco-textile research at Chelsea, so I'm quite familiar with this territory. But in terms of curriculum change, it's really difficult for a lot of tutors who have these intentions, but they don't know a lot about it. For example, I might have read Jonathan Chapman's book, which I have, and I tell students to read it. But so Herman Daly I've heard of, but I would have to do a lot more reading, and I think something like what Hannah does with fashioning and ethical industry, they're really effective because they support tutors and they offer reading lists. They really scaffold tutors to bring in the issues, because a lot of fashion tutors have no idea about sweatshop labour and some of the issues, but Hannah's organisation has been, well, sort of offer structures and support. They do workshops.
Not like hanging them, you know.
Well, but it's been a really effective organisation for tutors who are really time strapped, but they're really interested in the issues, but they don't know where to start.
I would add one sentence to that, which is it's pretty important that tutors should not think that they don't know something which other people do know, because who the hell knows what we're doing? We're all making it up. There's some tremendous pressure in many tutors to say, well, I don't know what ecology, I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, they just get overwhelmed and they don't.
Are there any tutors here that want to kind of tell us whether for them it's or you a priority to get your institution to change, or is it going to be finding a space that connects your institution to the outside world, or is it getting the hell out of institution to a group like Transition Hands and doing it that way? So tell us your name.
It's Michael Brown here again. I'd just like to thank Jodie and everyone who helped sort of make this happen for what will happen tomorrow, because I think hopefully that will be the most exciting bit, which is gave me the inspiration and confidence to basically set up a day where we would be doing outreach, basically working, with people from Kingston, and it's giving me this motivation to actually go out and connect with people who are coming in tomorrow, who set all sorts of design briefs for students to work on for a one-day intense activity. I don't know if it'll be a success yet, I hope it will, but even if it's just, it doesn't go as well as I dream, I think it'll be the start of something we will do each year from now on, and will lead to more and more connections, just to tap into that social capital and the strength that we have within our community beyond the university, and also to put students together for more courses and years and so on. So I think it's for that reason it's been great.
Thanks, and I think it's for Judy to sum up there.
Yeah, we have one more. Just one thing. Yeah.
I can't say anything, it's like being on a Bondi Beach in December.
Hello, my name's Phyllis
Can you
Williams.
put it like that so we can read?
Hello, my name's Phyllis Williams. I'm the director of the Centre for Sustainable Fashion at London College of Fashion and run the MA Fashion and the Environment. And I want to also thank Jodie for today. It's great for us to look together. I think it's critical that we have these bold statements that some of us can respond, that we'll all respond to in different ways. I think I want to say also about the importance of all the different layers of what we're all doing. I mean, for example, on the MA Fashion and the Environment, there's a couple of students here. I don't know if I've put them on the spot. I don't know if actually they might have forgotten there's a lecture tonight. What some of them are doing actually on the course themselves without any tutors is fantastic and incredible. And those very tiny layers are just as important as what we're doing as a University of the Arts, London College of Fashion. And we've got to find ways of all of the layers interacting, because I think as the gentleman from Kingston was talking about his own personal experience, other people from Kingston talking about different experiences, same at University of the Arts, lots of different tutors